Oh, starting right now. Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to all of you joining. How are you doing? Getting started here. Anyone who's just joining, hi, and let me say hi and let me know where you're watching from and how it's going. Hi, good morning. Hi, how are you? Gonna get started here in a second. How is everybody? Good, good, that's good. We'll get started in a second. Get everyone to join and say hi, good morning, how are you all doing? What we're going to talk about this morning is some of my stories from National Review, some of my articles from the week. And you can jump in and ask questions, and I'll answer whichever of those questions that I can. I usually will start at the beginning of the week. Perhaps I wrote a piece at the beginning of the week, a lot of Halloween themed stuff going on right now. Florida, first one is Florida State University, which I wrote about earlier this week, saying that dressing up as Harambe for Halloween is an example of cultural appropriation. It was one of many warnings on the My Culture is Not a Costume bulletin board hanging at the school's, one of the school's residences. It gave some examples of appropriation, like headdresses, and Harambe being cultural appropriation. The interesting thing is that on the list of acceptable Halloween costumes, it put any animal. And the question that I had about this is, dressing as Harambe is cultural appropriation. What culture exactly are you appropriating here? Harambe is not a culture. He was a gorilla at the Cincinnati Zoo. Yeah, what's the Harambe thing? How is that a culture? Exactly, not a culture. Gorilla at the Cincinnati Zoo. And the fact that it says any animal, it proves that it's other gorillas are okay. It's not appropriating gorilla culture. It's just this specific gorilla that's not okay. And culture appropriation is such a big deal at these schools, then they might want to make sure they have the definition of it right before they go making all these rules. If you're like other schools, a lot of schools have had problems with Harambe for various reasons, and if there are reasons why you don't want students dressing up as Harambe, then list those, but it's not cultural appropriation. Yeah, how is dressing like Harambe called? It's not appropriating. It's absolutely not appropriating, because Harambe is not a culture. A lot of the next one that I wrote, speaking of cultural appropriation, I wrote a satire piece yesterday, which a lot of people are unfortunately not understanding was a satire, and I've gotten some angry tweets. Basically taking the point of view that actually dressing up as anyone or anything for Halloween is not okay because it's appropriation. That's my piece from yesterday that went up a little later last night, so if you haven't checked it out, then you should check it out. But it's this idea that if you are cultural appropriation for Halloween, dressing up as something like an Indian, Native American, Pocahontas is unacceptable, because what you're doing, according to this argument, is you're putting on a culture for just a night, to look cute and drink and have fun and then being able to take that costume off at the end of the night and not have to deal with that identity and the things associated with it the rest of the year. But the thing is, if you follow that argument all the way through, dressing up as anything would be appropriation and would be unacceptable. Any person you dress up as, if you dress up as a famous person or a character, then what you're doing is you're just putting on their identity for one night only without actually having to deal with their identity the rest of the year. You could say that about anything. I guess cultural appropriation, just saying cultural is the only appropriation that matters, wouldn't that be a form of discrimination? I think that it would. So really, if you think about it, if you follow that argument, anything would be appropriation, even inanimate objects, right? Because even if, let's say you dress up as a refrigerator, then, you don't know what it's like to be a refrigerator. Maybe they do have identities. How arrogant of you to assume. Or fictional characters. You never know who identifies as a fictional character. I mean, I've already written, we have people out there who identify as vampires and who identify as dragons. You never know if somebody identifies as, say, Superman. So, really, any Halloween costume, all that, they distinguish between acceptable and unacceptable, but if you're concerned about appropriation, so I can't dress as MC Hammer, John, yeah, no. If you, I say yeah, whatever, but if you look at the definition of appropriation, what you'd be doing is you'd be putting on the identity of MC Hammer for just one night without ever having to go through whatever MC Hammer went through, whatever that may be, and then just take it off at the end of the night when it's all over, and not have to be MC Hammer the rest of the time. And of course, like, this is satire, and most people are because most people are concerned about cultural appropriation, but I don't think that they realize when they follow, when you follow their own logic all the way through, and what appropriation is, any costume would really fall under that, unless, of course, you are, distinguishing cultural as the only appropriation that matters. You're still doing the same thing by putting on an experience of a person for one night and for your fun, and then being able to take it off at the end of the night.